Is Florian Wirtz struggling at Liverpool? I mean, yeah and no, right? It's a fair question to ask, I think. He's not hit the ground running. He's not been particularly impressive in his first 2 games. And it's leading people to think, well, have we signed the right player? Why is he not being as good as he was in the Bundesliga? Why is he not... What's going on? I think you need to all calm down, firstly. There are 5, 6, 7 reasons why he is not playing his same game as he did at Leverkusen in the Bundesliga. And I'm going to take you through actually the goals. 2 of the goals against Newcastle, I do believe he was involved in. Yes, granted indirectly, but I'm not thinking, God, where was Wirtz there? Why is he not involved? He was involved in both of the goals. I'm also going to take you to the tactics board after, and I'm going to speak about why this isn't working on the pitch in terms of that link up with Ekitike, why that hasn't quite clicked yet. I'm also going to talk about a few variables that need to be spoken about new to the league. I want to talk about the position he's playing now as opposed to the position he was playing in Leverkusen. It's entirely different, right? And I do believe this will absolutely work. There's not even actually, I don't think it's a nearly conversation to have. He's an unbelievable player, let it set in. The first goal, Gravenberch, obviously, well, Gakpo starts with the play, passes to Gravenberch edge of the box, and that's Wirtz number 7 there. He makes a great run. I mean, obviously he's not received the ball, he's not played a 1-2, he's not got the assist, but I do think that run there, I think it almost stops Joelinton from pressing Gravenberch, and obviously Gravenberch gets a bit of room there, enough room to shoot, and then he scores. Obviously, it was a bit of a freak goal. Gravenberch doesn't really do this particularly much, doesn't really shoot. However, look where Wirtz has ended up and look where he started. There's a clear intent there to go and affect the game, whether that was directly or indirectly. In this case, it was indirectly. Maybe he could have actually, look at this, he could have received the ball there. He's pointing for the ball, give me the ball through. And if Wirtz did take the ball there, I'd be very confident because, again, that's the positions he was taking up at Leverkusen. In these areas, he looks pretty threatening. And I tweeted out at half-time, I said, if you got like a minute here, I mean, everyone did. Everyone just watching the game. But just watch Wirtz, like, for 3 passes of play, 4 passes of play. The movement he was making and some of the runs he was making, some of the positions he were taking up in the kind of pocket in between the lines, their defence and midfield, I thought was absolutely excellent. We just couldn't pass the frigging round thing to him. So it's coming. It is coming. To this goal, you can clearly see he had some sort of involvement, albeit a bit indirect. And the same for the second one. I mean, I just want to show you this, by the way. So this comes from frustration, in my opinion. Alisson's got the ball, and he's clearly going to boot it up, right? Because we were really not passing out the back. Certainly in the first half, not very well. We looked a bit shaky with Szoboszlai coming into midfield, and Jones was kind of... Yeah, in the second half, Jones really got his foot on the ball. But in the first, when they had 11 men, we really struggled playing at the back. So it was a lot of this, a lot of hoofball. But look at Wirtz. He's coming deeper. Like, he's almost as deep as Gravenberch here. Like, he's almost frustrated he's not receiving the ball in them pockets, in them areas he wants to receive the ball. So he's coming deeper. Alisson bypasses the whole team. A bit of nice play from Gakpo, I've got to say, beating Trippier. I mean, I could beat Trippier in 1v1. Comes inside, but then, like, you get to here, and Wirtz is nowhere to be seen because he started so far back in this passage of play. And obviously, if Jones scores this, then we're not complaining, right? They score the goal. But imagine if that was Wirtz. Imagine if Wirtz was there, like a player who you've got to say is probably better in front of goal than Jones. That could have been him. But instead, he's almost becoming maybe a bit impatient. Maybe the manager's telling him to do that. I don't know. But I'd have liked to see Wirtz in the bloody box, mate. I'll be honest with you. Instead of trying to pick the ball from the defenders and turn. Do you know what I mean? When it wasn't going to happen anyway. So I think that frustration element's definitely there. Let's talk about this. This is the Ekitike goal, very early on in the second half, of course. Salah plays to Wirtz, and Wirtz is the one who plays this originally. And listen, it's not an unbelievable pass. I'm not trying to dress this up like 115 million. That's what we signed him for. He literally just passed to Ekitike. But I do think that relationship here is interesting. Look at the positions they're taking up. When one drops, the other one goes. We'll talk about it in a bit on the tactics board, on the lineup board. So Ekitike is making this run, and instead of kind of going central, I mean, I've really not screenshotted this very well. Basically, instead of Wirtz making this run here and Ekitike following him, Wirtz goes wide and then comes in. I mean, you can kind of see it here. He's gone wide and then he comes in. He was actually on Livramento there, and now he's come into Dan Burton. And again, this space here, like, look at the biggest space on the pitch. I mean, in this area, it's definitely there, right? So Wirtz has taken up that role, and then this run from Wirtz, you can see. Let me go back one. Dan Burton's he's actually facing forward, he's kind of flat-footed, right? But this run from Wirtz, you can clearly see him on that picture there. Again, poorly screenshotted. He's making that burst forward there, to the point where Dan Burns had to turn and go. Wirtz has made that run. But then look at this move. This move from Wirtz has taken Dan Burn out and left even more room here for Ekitike to shoot. And by the time all your midfielders, Joelinton and that, get across, it's too late and he's scored, right? So, yeah, maybe if Wirtz wasn't there, Dan Burn could have just stepped in here, or there would have been no one there. And listen, I'm not saying this is groundbreaking stuff. I mean, Mo Salah probably would have done something similar, right? Or any forward, but I just think the intent is there. He's clearly clever. If you watch the ref cam, which I quite like, by the way, the camera on ref, you can see that run from Wirtz. He's looking forward, and then he peels back and then goes. This guy's like very intelligent, right? Don't need me to say that. We signed him for a reason, and I just think people are really reading into him way too much and too quickly after not many games, right? Let's jump to the tactics board. I want to talk about why this ain't so much working right now. Listen, here we go. This is what we played yesterday, 4-2-3-1. Wirtz in the number 10. And this is the first time Liverpool have really had a proper out-and-out number 10. A Mesut Ozil, David Silva, Eriksen profile in like years. I mean, I can't remember us having one really, maybe Coutinho, but again, he was more to the left. Listen, under Klopp, we relied on a midfielder, a heavy, like a utility midfield, very much workhorses, Henderson, Wijnaldum, Fabinho. Under Slot, we had Szoboszlai, who, is more of a profiled number 10, but he wasn't playing there. He was more of a number 8, doing the leg work in there, box to box. So this is the first real creator we've had, whose out-and-out job is to just create and score goals. Like, I don't particularly want the guy to get back and do the dog's work in there. The idea is didn't bring him in to do that, right? You'd bring him in to play his best position and do his best stuff, and that's going forward. But he was coming too deep. He was wanting to receive the ball. I showed you that picture. He was getting a bit impatient at times, coming deeper to receive it and try and just make something happen when really you want him up here and you want him to the left. We saw twice in that game. Once for the Gravenberch goal, he makes this run to the left. We then score from it. He makes another similar run in the game. But he also has a shot from here, like 5-10 minutes into the game. I think it's probably the first shot of the game. Wirtz shoots a really poor shot, I've got to say. But it's like one of the only shots on target we had all game, and it was from Wirtz in that left half space, exactly where he wants to be. Is that a coincidence that all his best work's coming from there? No, because he was there at Leverkusen playing there week in, week out. He was their best player in a team who went invincible, right, and won the Bundesliga. And he got this move for a reason from that space. So it begs the question, do you keep him in the middle, or do you move him to the left? And do you say, listen, your best work comes in the left half space. Instead of being more central and drifting wide, why don't you start wider and come more central? Maybe that's the case. Wirtz isn't like... I mean, obviously Wirtz is pretty quick. Like, he's a fast footballer. But he's not rapid. He's not like a Diaz or a Mane, right? He's not going to beat players like this way and beat him with skill. He's going to come inside. I just worry he's going to be too far out on the peripheries of the team. And if you spend £116 million, I want them in the middle, right? So I would keep him in the middle. I don't think Gakpo's done enough wrong to be dropped, by the way. I really think Gakpo's underrated in this team. I mean, he started really well, by the way. Really, really. He got the assist for the goal, the Gravenberch goal, of course. He scored like the other week. He's a good start, Gakpo. And listen, the problem is with these two, right? These two will take a bit of time to bed in, as will Kerkez, as will Frimpong when he plays. I don't care if you've signed... People are saying about Kerkez, right? There's no excuses. He's come from the Premier League. There's no excuses from Wirtz. He's 116 million. It shouldn't take him long to adapt. I don't care if these players came from down the road, came from Mars, wherever you want to bring them from. 5 new players to a side, all playing together, will take time to adapt. I don't care who you are or where you're from, right? So that's an expected grace period I think we need there. And Ekitike is kind of coming deep. I think, he wants to receive the ball. He wants to get on the ball loads. He's coming deeper with a centre-back on his back to goal, trying to make something happen, trying to pop it off somewhere and turn and go. He did it really well for me against Crystal Palace. I thought he was really good at that in the Community Shield. But if he's coming deeper, then Wirtz is making this run in here, which I don't think Wirtz is particularly well versed. Wirtz. Oh my God, Wirtz. Kind of being up there on his own, to be honest. I think he needs someone with him, or I think he needs to be in the wider area with someone in the box, right? I think it's a lot to ask. I don't think he's a natural, number 9. I mean, my idea was playing him as a false 9 this year, before we even signed Ekitike. And I don't like the look of that at all. I'm so glad we've signed a striker, because he's not a number 9, Wirtz. You've got to work out these rotations. We saw a few times. I mean, for the goal, for the Ekitike goal, it all started from Wirtz here, popping one off to Ekitike, and they've linked up there. And they did it a few times in the game. It didn't always work. I like the idea of playing as a 2, playing as a 4-2-2-2, but the problem with this is when you're doing this whole thing where you're right back, whether it be Frimpong or Bradley, get forward, you're making this back 3, and then everyone's going to move across, and then it's like you've not really got that 4-2-2-2, if you like. It'll always be this 3-4-2-1, which, again, on paper, works, but it isn't working. There's too many spaces at the back. I think you need an extra body in midfield. Is the option you bring Wirtz in there? For me, no. We've not brought him in to play number 8. Don't play him number 8. I think it's as simple as that. For me, to conclude, I mean, really, I would keep him in number 10 and say to you, nothing's actually particularly wrong. I just think it needs a bit of time. players will take a while to get used to each other. And with McAllister in here, by the way, McAllister's obviously a better player than Jones. Jones had a good game for me, I thought, but McAllister is a better player. When you've got McAllister behind you, it's Gravenberch's first game back. That yesterday, he missed the first 2 games of the season. Wirtz hasn't actually come in yet to our strongest 11. Szoboszlai, as good of a game as he had, it was an amazing game. It wasn't a Frimpong or a Bradley. It wasn't our actual right back, right? So when Wirtz gets into an actual, a proper full 11, on form, 5, 6, 7 games in, everyone's up to full fitness. McAllister doesn't look half fit, by the way. I know he missed because his wife, I think, was having a kid, but he didn't look half fit in that game against Bournemouth. He was rushed back, in my opinion. Kirk has started slow. When all these players start singing off the same hymn sheet, I don't think it'll be an issue at all. In fact, I think it'll be a real positive. You've got to look at the positives here. Everyone's focusing on the negatives of Wirtz. He's not started very fast. At least he's running like a footballer, unlike Gyökeres down the country. You know what I mean? My word, in that Man United game, he wasn't moving particularly. And it's like, I watched him against in the game with the bat thingy 5-0. I thought Gyökeres had a good game, and he took that first goal really well, and credit where it's due. I was never criticising him for his lack of ability to score goals, Gyökeres. In fact, I predicted him to do really well this season. I was just really not impressed by the way he was moving. He looked quite sluggish, really slow as well. Wirtz ain't been that. Yeah, Wirtz physically has not really been there. He's been out-muscled a few times. He's been caught in situations in midfield, in between 2 midfielders. It's why are you there? But I'm not impressed by the way he moves. My word, in pre-season, some of the stuff he was doing, really silky, really protects the ball very well, and he's clearly, oh my word, what a talent. What a talent this guy is, right? Are you just going to take all that back because he didn't score against Newcastle? Or he didn't do very well against one of the... these lot are... that squad pretty much in the Champions League. That's a Champions League level squad, that. Yeah, granted, Isak wasn't playing. But certainly the midfield, right? That's one of the best midfields in the league. Away, St James's Park, it's about as tough, and it sounds like you're making excuses here. But I do think the variables, it's about as tough as an away game gets. That certainly with the anticipation around the game, but attention around Isak, etc. The atmosphere booming. I'm not exactly annoyed that he didn't perform in that game. It's okay, it's one game. It's the second game of the season. It's fine. It is absolutely fine. And again, he wasn't exactly bad. I don't think he had a terrible game. He certainly wasn't amazing. He could have had more shots. We could have all had more shots. We were not playing well. Again, factor that in. We were not playing very well. So how do you expect Wirtz to play well? Maybe the argument is, well, if we're not playing very well, then Wirtz should step up and play well. I get that argument. But again, we've not particularly, I don't know, cohesed. Is that a word? If it isn't a word, I'm going to make it up. We're playing with no cohesion right now. We're somehow winning games. That Bournemouth game, we weren't very good. We somehow won 4-2. That Newcastle game, we were second best in every metric and we somehow won. All I'm saying is, give it a bit of time. Let these two work out what's going on. Let these two understand each other. Let them work out who's going, who's staying, who's making the left run, who's going to stay back. Let McAllister get back into this team. Let Gakpo, bed into these new players. He's playing with 2 new attacking players. It's not a Jota and a Diaz or a Nunes now. He needs to work out how these two work, right? And he's also playing in front of Gakpo. I feel actually quite... Kirkes, I feel a bit bad for Gakpo. He's playing... Maybe not bad, it's not a bad thing, but I just think he's playing everyone knew around him, and he started really well, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts down below on Florian Wirtz, and also, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe. It really goes far in helping me improve, so get on there, smash the like, it's entirely free. Thank you guys, I'll see you later, bye.